Hey guys, welcome back, and in this video we will be taking a look at subclassing. So we'll be using the example of buttons to actually learn this. So we'll head over by opening up Xcode, creating a new Xcode project, using a new app, call this subclassing. Make sure the user interface is at a storyboard and click on next. I'm going to go ahead and just save this on the desktop. As you can see, we have subclassing the file we just created right there. So let's put it up in full screen. Awesome. So we'll head over to our main storyboard. It's taking quite a while to load up. There we go. Let's change this to an iPhone 11 Pro, which I believe is this one right here. So we have the iPhone 11 Pro Max, not the Pro. I'm extremely sorry. So we're going to take a button here, a regular button, drag it up to a good size. I'm going to call this press me just for now. Increase the font size. Increase the font size. So now we have this button right here. So let's just close it up, open up the view controller, which is going to come up right there. Control drag it here. Let's just call this my first button. So put that up in full screen. So the first thing I want to basically do is to have the button with a red background color. So you can say my first button into dot red. So let's just here we see a plain white screen. We're going to see the press me as well. It's taking a while to load, I believe. Okay, there we go, loaded. The reason it has a black background is because this is in let's see if I can get it to show up. The settings right here, not old image, settings right there. Head all the way down to developer, and here I have dark appearance to light appearance toggling. So basically that's what I'm using here. Subclassing. So there is my press me button. So let's rerun this, and now we should see a button with a red background. That works. Now let's text just looks ugly. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say my first button dot set title color to probably white for dot normal. Now you should see a white text instead of that. Oops. Yeah, so that's the white instead of the blue text, which looks much better. So now let's say when I press this, I want it to print out something. So we can do something like my first button dot add target self action is going to be a hashtag selector. I'm going to say handle, come on, handle button tap for UI control event of touch up inside. And we're going to get an error because we don't have this function just yet, so you have to get that function done. So we'll say at objc func handle button tap, and I'm just going to print out button tapped. We're also going to print out it's going to inherit a button which is going to be a UI. I'm going to just print out button.tag. Now let's run this, and now everything should compile just fine. Press me. There we go. Button tapped and 0. So now let's say I want to have this a little curved. Yeah? So what I'll do is I'll say my first button dot layer dot corner radius is equal to my first button dot layer dot frame dot size dot height divided by 2. Hopefully I did it right. Oops. Height by 2. So now if I run this, I should see the button with the corner radius. Let's see if that is the case by just minimizing it here. Yeah, there's the button with that nice curve. That looks actually very nice. Let's bold the text a bit. So we will say my first button dot title label dot font is equivalent to dot bold system font of size 20. So now we should see the button takes a little bit more bold. Probably the title label return nil. No, it's a little bit bolder. So that still works. Let's say I want to give a shadow, so we'll say my first button dot layer shadow opacity is equal to 1, and then my first button dot layer dot shadow color is equivalent to UI color dot white dot CG color. Now let's hope to see a shadow, because most of the times I mess up with shadows. But yeah, there's the shadow. That looks pretty nice. So let's say when I touch this button, I want it to go in and come back out. So basically, what I want is, how can I actually do it? Yeah, I can do it like this. I can say my first button dot add gesture recognizer. It's going to be a UI tab gesture recognizer with a target of self, and the action is actually going to be selector of the handle button tab, and it's also going to take a gesture. It's going to be a UI long press gesture recognizer. That's huge. So after this, we're going to check if gesture dot state is equal to dot began. Then we're going to say button dot transform is equal to CG fine transform with a scale, and it's going to make it probably 0.8 times its original size. I'm going to check else if gesture dot state is equal to dot ended. Then we're going to say button dot transform, it's not trait collection but transform is equal to dot identity. So now let's run this and see if we get handle button tab. Hopefully all that is fine, and it is. Okay, so now we are actually not able to interpret this right here, and the reason is it's not able to actually, it's just an LLDB, and honestly I don't know the actual reason, but I know a fix to it. So let's say I want to create another button that looks just like this. Okay, so let's just shake that up. Press V2. We're going to just call this my second button. Connect it up, and I'll have to use the same code here, and inside here I'll have to say my second button. Now I will see another button that looks exactly like the first button. And as you can see, we're using exactly the same things right here. So it looks exactly the same. The shadow actually looks kind of ugly, but whatever. So it does exactly the same thing, right? So why do we actually even need to do this? Yeah. So what can we actually do? Well, we can use classes or subclasses. So it's a class my custom button. I'm going to say func design button, and it's basically going to perform all this code. So now it doesn't know what this my first button is in the first place. So what can I actually do? Get rid of my first button. And as so it doesn't know what we're doing. Actually, we forgot to subclass this from a normal button, UI button. Now a lot of the errors should go. So now it doesn't know what this handle button tap is. So we're going to take a selector. It's going to be a selector. We're just going to put this selector right here. So I'm just going to make it an optional, just make it a regular one. Again, it doesn't know what this my first button is, so what I'm just going to use is just this. So now we have created this custom button. Now, if the subclass is from a custom button, my custom button, then it will have some special things to do. So one thing which we have to change here, to select these two, head over to the identity inspector with that ID card kind of logo, and just give this my custom button. So now everything should work. Instead of giving all of this nonsense, all we need to do is to just say my first button dot design button, and the selector is just going to be a hashtag selector. We're going to be our handle button tab, and we're going to say my second button dot design button hashtag selector. We're going to use the same function handle button tab. So now let's run this. And see what happens. We get the exact same result as we did. Typing that huge amount of code is not even required when you could just do this. If you're using sensitive UI, it's called modifiers, and here it is called subclassing. So let's say I want to add more functionality to my custom button. I could just say class my second custom button subclasses from my custom button, and just type in a lot of code. Now another thing I could do is to say var corner radius it's going to be of type CG float, which is going to be equivalent to 0 first. I'm going to say did set, and if it has been set, then what we're going to do is we're going to do this. Instead of this, we'll just put our corner radius. And we don't need this code. So now I can do something like my first button dot corner radius is equal to my first button dot layer dot frame dot size dot height by 2. So now hopefully, yeah. So we didn't set the corner radius for this, so we get this one. Now, how can we get that bouncing effect? Well, we can just use touches began, and we can just say super dot touches began, and the touch is going to be our touches, and the event is our event. And then we're going to say button dot transform. Transform is equal to CG of find transform with a scale x and y of 0.8 and 0.8, and we're also going to use the touches ended with super dot touches ended with our touches and our event. I'm going to say UI view dot animates animate with duration. Completion actually is not needed. I chose that mistake. Animation is going to be self dot animation self dot transform is equal to dot identity and time interval, let's say 0.3. So now I will get my bounce of the button going in and out. Okay, so the reason being a very simple reason. There is no super dot touches ended for this button just yet. So I believe that is the problem, and everything should be just fine. So yeah, that's about it. That's how you can subclass. But if you don't want this and you just want to do it for every single button available in this world, all you have to do is, but the problem is you can't give these kind of custom properties. But what you can do is to just say extension UI button and just put this entire function here. So it will overlap in our case, but if you wanted to, you could just do this. So yeah, we can't override it because UI button already has that same function. So I hope you guys enjoyed and understood the idea of subclassing and properties such as this in subclasses for UI elements which you can present on the screen. Thank you, and I'll see you guys all next time. Bye.